Hey guys, DRedFox788 here. Today we're going to be discussing a topic I slightly mentioned in my last video, which is combat on the sunwing. Let's get right into it. Now, obviously if you play the Horizon, you know that the sunwing is the mount you unlock at the very end of the game, but unlike the other mounts, you can't actually fight on it or ask it to do any type of attacks while you're on it. The only thing that it's useful for is just traversal, and that's it because it's the fastest mount. But apart from that, it can't help you in any way during combat except maybe quickly escape when you use the grapple hook ability on it. But apart from that, not very useful in comparison to the other mounts. As every other mount, you can fight on it, use your bow, and use mount attacks directly from it, whereas the sunwing, you can't do that. Now, the reason for that may just be that the sunwing was added at the very end of the development cycle. Like, apparently Guerrilla decided very late into development that flying was going to be a thing, at least for this game. So it might just be for that reason that they didn't put combat, which is why I'm thinking also it's a good way to introduce it in the DLC, especially that the DLC is now going to be exclusive to the PlayStation 5. So they can't give the excuse of being like held back by hardware, since they're going to be like using the new, can you call it new? Yeah, the current hardware that's available. Now, in terms of expectations, now, the Sunwing is one of the most powerful machines that you can fight in Horizon, especially if you're playing on higher difficulties, as it's very powerful by itself, but also it has the plasma effect, and it's usually with several other Sunwings. Now, in comparison to other mounts, the Sunwing can only be put into defense mode in comparison, well, passive mode in comparison to other mounts, which can be put into aggressive mode, which means that it can attack other mounts straight away. Makes sense in this case where the sunwing can only be put into passive mode, since obviously it can't fight once you override it. But let's say they do introduce it in the DLC, it would be kind of interesting to see whether they nerf the machine a little bit, as obviously the sunwing is a very powerful machine and can use powerful attacks, and it has one of the most powerful effects that I can use, which is the plasma effect, so that deals a lot of damage. So let's see what they can do with that. So I do think that it might just be limited, or they might just not allow you to use those type of attacks with the sunwing, which I would not be surprised by, as obviously you don't want to be too overpowered, especially if you're using a mount. But what may happen is that you're able to use your bow when you're mounting the sunwing, which would be a cool addition, as I do feel that, yes, you would have the advantage, obviously, as you're going to be in the air, but at the same time, it's going to be more difficult to get good shots in, as you're going to be way faster, unless you stay put, but obviously you take a risk of being shot by the other machines if you stay still. Now, in my opinion, it's very likely we're going to add this, as, like I said, since we're not going to be using only the PlayStation 5, I don't see a reason why not to add it, especially now that we're going to be changing places, as we're going to be going to Hollywood and apparently another area as well, and we're going to be using the sunwing a lot more, just according to the trailer. I would not be surprised if we get to use it in a different way. I mean, they have to kind of renovate some things, at least to make the gameplay a bit more interesting in comparison to the main game, but let's see. I mean, I will assume that we're going to get more info in the coming weeks, as the game is coming out in April, so in about 86 days when I'm recording this. 85 tomorrow, since it's going to be released on Monday. And yeah, hopefully we'll get more news and more information, though I do really hope they add this feature, as I did ask other people and they do agree that it will be kind of a cool feature to have. Anyway, this brings an end to this video, I think. Give it a like, and hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to, I mean, it's free. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!
Hey!